Hello and welcome to the patch preview for the Nuwa and Zeus rework. In this video we're going to be checking out the new Nuwa. So she received a visual update as well as a kit overhaul, as here you can see her in the client. No longer kind of walks, she floats, doesn't have a staff, just all over different. A couple people have been comparing her to Aphrodite and kind of how that rework worked out for her. I personally don't see it, but maybe that's just me. I do much more get the feel of, kind of Guardian and Creator with this kind of skin than something else. So all of her skins received a rework. So you can see here, take a look at the golden skin. And as well, the legendary skin, which I think looks pretty cool. So we're going to hop into game here, check out the abilities, and also do a little bit of gameplay against the infamous Robot to see kind of what her laning phase looks like now as more of a mage than a split pusher. That's what I played her as. She was ridiculously good at tanking towers and taking them down. Let's take a look real quick at some of the differences in her abilities before we hop into game. So she has an entirely new passive, Strength of Wood. After 5 successful basic attacks, Nuwa's next basic attack will root an enemy. If you happen to catch this on Smite game when they were streaming it, this is a basic attack that even if you miss it after 5, like it's going to go away. And I'll show that a little bit in the video as well. So she still has her fog as her one. Instead of it following her around, it now is kind of a deployable that goes regardless of whether you're in it or not. I think it also has increased damage, so that should be interesting. Still has the clay soldiers. You can't get 5 clay soldiers anymore. They also reduce magic protection now. So you have a max of 3 and they reduce magic protection. They also have an initial charge now rather than just kind of plopping them down and then moving forward. They will actually charge at an enemy. Shining Metal replaces her Flame Strike, or the 3 from her last kit. This is probably the bread and butter of the new kit from what I've seen. Does a good amount of damage. If it hits one of her clay soldiers, it will explode and stun the enemies. Really, really cool ability. We'll check it out in the client. And Fire Shards, the thing that makes the kit, I suppose. So she has a little bit of a cast time, goes up into the air, and then deals damage to every god on the map. Enemy god, I should say. This is a really interesting ability. She can be burst down while casting it because it does have a significant cast time, and the damage is not super high for a global ult, which I imagine is good. If it were too high, it would be broken. This could probably see some tweaks in later patches for damage numbers. My initial reaction is it's just a little bit too low, but I don't know. People will find it out, and everybody does an extensive amount of testing of what happens if you build the maximum amount of AP and then use this ability. Like, how is that going to affect the entire team fight? So let's go ahead and hop into the client and check out some of these new abilities. Welcome back. We are now in game for the Nuwa ability preview. So let's take a look at the passive, Strength of Wood. So after 5 successful basic attacks, you trigger this little green crystal. And what it does is when you hit an enemy with it, they're going to be rooted in place. Now, you can miss this ability, so let me proc 5 more. Oops. So there's 5. And then if I shoot it over here, it shoots out, but nothing is hit, so you miss the ability. Taking a look at her fog here, it does look quite a bit different than the previous ability. You cast her fog, and then you have to walk with it now if you want to actually stay invisible, because it moves independently of you, which is pretty different than the other ability, which just kind of follows you around. Looking at her clay soldier, very normal. He's gonna go and fight somebody.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Following him real quick. Maybe he'll make it before he dies. Maybe not. No, he's dead. So let me see if I can show you how they jump towards people. So let's put one here. Yeah, so they have a small charge where they actually charge towards people now. Head back to my favorite little jungle spot here. Taking a look at the third ability. So this replaces the Flame Strike ability. And what it does is it will go through all of the enemies and do damage. Pretty simple ability there. But if you have a clay soldier out, you see that a reticle pops up with your 3. It will do damage when it explodes the clay minion and also stun all of the enemies. Taking a look at the final ability here, this is the nuke, global nuke.
Your middle tower
Flame shards or fire shards? Fire shards. So, as you can see, it's a deployable, if only for the sake of being a deployable, I think. So it has a small cast time, you go up. A little bit of a nuke to the robot. Pretty decent cooldown, 1.5 minutes at rank 1. Also not a huge amount of damage, as you saw. It only did 135 before any mitigation from the robot. So I don't think that that ability is going to be robot necessarily OP for any real reason. I think you could maybe see some tweaking from high res there. I don't know. That we'll have to see how that ability does when it goes into live. I could definitely see it being tweaked for damage. Doesn't need to be too high, doesn't need to be too low. But all in all, I think the visual rework and the abilities are very good for Nuwa. You know, I was always upset when I saw Nuwa in a game that didn't really get the concept of the old Nuwa. Then I was also upset when I saw people who knew how to play Nuwa and were just like, well, I could go 0-13 and still push the lane and only fight towers and win because my respawn timer is too low and I can tank whatever. So this should be interesting, you know, maybe seeing her in the mid lane now as a mid lane mage. I don't know, she could potentially have jungle potential. This seems interesting, you know, being able to pop people, but probably not, because I don't think her gank potential would be through the roof. So yeah, that's it for Nuwa. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys enjoy playing Nuwa. I think she's really cool. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, leave me suggestions, let me know if there's anything else you want to see on the channel or any ways that I can improve these videos for you guys. So yeah, adios.